Hello, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach and a host of the Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, I want to be crystal clear with you and share this and leave an everlasting impact upon you. Just imagine being buried alive. You're in a coffin, but you know you're not dead. You try to lift the lid of the coffin, but the enormous weight upon the lid is preventing you from lifting that. You then think today is the day you're going to die, but then you think maybe if I bang on the lid, I'll unsettle the dirt that's upon the lid, and maybe, just maybe, someone might notice and start digging their way down towards me. This is what it's like to find yourself at the lowest point of alcohol and drug addiction. You know you need help, you know you can't do it on your own, but you don't know where to turn for help. In reality, there are people standing right by your grave. You don't know that. You just think you're going to die. Usually, though, people abusing drugs and alcohol don't think about death. They have to be great at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, my audience, did it ever cross your mind when you're abusing drugs and alcohol that maybe you will take your own life, you'll overdose, and take something that God has given you so preciously, called life, not just away from you, but more selfishly, you take your life away from your children, your grandchildren, your husband, your wife, your mother, your father. With this, let me leave one last thought. Don't be the person that I just read about on these index cards that went to their grave without seeking help. You need to fight. Never go down without a fight. And the only way to fight addiction is to reach out for help. You can reach to people like me at 844-405-HELP. And I promise you, I will help you take your life back before your life is gone. And once it's gone, it's irreplaceable. And then you have taken what your children depended on, what your grandchildren depend on, your husband and your wife and your mother, father depend on, is not just your love and your compassion, but you away from them. What a selfish act. Call me at 844-405-HELP, and I promise you, I will reach out, grab your hand, and help you take your life back before your life is gone. People like Larry Geis from the Geis Academy, 516-458-2741. Larry Geis is an addiction recovery coach. He's a life coach, like I am. He has over 30 years experience. He and I always tell people like you, it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter where you've been. What matters most is that you are reaching out for help to make a great today and a brighter tomorrow. Larry Geis can be found at www.odysseyconsultant.org. That's Larry Geis, addiction recovery coach, lifeline to help you. 516-458-2741, Larry Geis from the Geis Academy. He will help take back your life. Easy practices to change old habits. The biggest steps towards making life changes is to take responsibility and admitting to our actions. Be held accountable. As someone who has struggled plenty throughout life, which I have, I've come to see that I've had behaviors that made my struggles worse than they had to be. Sometimes my behaviors were even irresponsible for creating them. But every time that challenges came my way, I was triggered into falling back into these unhealthy patterns called alcoholism. It's taken a lot of work, but I've been able to see how my thoughts and actions impact things both big and small and other people. This awareness has me focus on changing my ways so that I can change my life, which I have been now for years. As I've paid attention to how I act and what I do and why I do it, it leaves me wondering why I waited so long. As I've paid attention to how I act and why I do it, I discovered that I've had 5 big contributors that tie into nearly all of my biggest challenges. And here are my 5. Listening, as in really listening. There seems to be a general consensus that nodding our heads, lifting our eyebrows, and saying, yeah, makes us good listeners. The fact of the matter is, that's just an act. We may start a conversation by giving our full attention, but our minds quickly get sucked into a black hole of thoughts and our awareness drifting in and out instead of having we're completely lost and not even paying attention anymore. Other times we may actually be hearing what they are saying, but we're not receiving the message and not digesting that message. We all have biases, experiences, and judgments that affect all of us, but listening to someone means things from their perspective, not ours, needs to be paid attention to. About 3 years ago, I became determined to really start listening to people like you. I don't want to waste their time and energy, not to mention my own, and I wanted to be able to be there for them. Think we instead of me. It's no secret that we're all pretty selfish people. I mean, our survival depends upon us meeting our needs. Being selfish, self-centered is really sort of a necessity. That being said, we're part of a community that makes each individual part of a whole. We can't just think about ourselves all the time because there are always other people involved. They're going to have feelings and thoughts based on their own personality and their own experiences. We also can't assume that the things we do in our personal life and our personal agenda in mind will have little to no impact upon other people. It's easy to do whatever we want, whenever we want, to ourselves and not worry about it. But ponder how these same actions will affect someone else when we suddenly have a reason to rethink our course of action that affects them directly. The truth is, our actions will always have impact on other people around us. We need to think things through. In addition to that, doing things only for certain people makes a huge difference. Hold on one second, folks. One of my studio lights just went out, so that should be better now. Thinking me is boring. Thinking we makes things more fun. Now that there are some of us who would fall under the category of being pushed over. Even in those cases, I'd say we're just as guilty as thinking me. As much as we may be giving ourselves, we're still looking to get something from it. Oftentimes we're pushovers because we're hungry for love and approval, and we want to make new friends. Then there are times where we're hoping to appear as ideal friend or family member. So we generously give our time, money, and attention to people, but such selfish actions get us used and enabled people to continue unhealthy behavior. If we're thinking we, then we will see the need for boundaries and for new areas. It's not me, it is we, you and me, my audience. So I taught myself to listen of curiosity. Whatever they had to say, I looked for something that I could relate to. Whether I found it interesting and wanted to know more, or connected to something I could understand, or became up questions and ideas that could deepen my understanding of what I was hearing. Hold on one second, folks. Whether I found it interesting, I always lend an ear. As I listen with genuine interest, I naturally developed questions that only kept focused on them, not me. Not to take away from it, but it kept the conversation flowing while I was affirming that I was actively participating. Since I developed this new kind of active, genuine listening, I have never gone back. Opt for quality instead of convenience. In a modern world, it is always about convenience and quick fixes, whether it's having a mobile meal that only takes 2 minutes and $2, or it's opting for a quick text instead of face-to-face conversation. Society tells us to take it easiest way out. As common as it might be, this comes with various costs. A $2 burger isn't going to fill us up for long, and it sure as heck isn't going to meet our nutritional standards. And that quick analysis is the truth of the matter. We get what we give, and that applies to our success, accomplishments, and our relationships. A healthy body and a happy relationship doesn't just happen on its own. It requires effort, intention, and genuine care. Solving instead of coping. Past hardships and stresses of crazy modern world has so many of us struggling each and every day in our lives. We may develop coping mechanisms to help us keep going, but they often do more harm than good. In 2013, it was estimated that over 16 million Americans suffered from alcohol disorders. 16 million people, folks. Add that to the number of people suffering from drug and cigarette addiction and overeating, and it becomes quite clear just how much we struggle day to day, not just as a nation, but as a world. Booze, drugs, food, and all sorts of other addictions provide us temporary relief from our pain and struggles, but that's like sucking a Band-Aid on an amputated arm right off. Put it on, putting it on might help us feel better, but relief is only in our heads. We're still gushing the blood when it's pulled off. I found out that my go-to behaviors for dealing with anger and hurt may be a quick fix that really gets to my gut and out of my mind. That's when I turn to A for ask, F for focus, E for envision, and B for belief. That's AFET. Ask. First, I ask myself, what's bothering me today? I go on to into all the nitty-gritty details and ask myself again and again why something is eating at me today. Once I've come to the understanding my feelings were that they were probably hurt or where they stem from, I can suddenly see what the core issue is that needs to be addressed. Then I focus. Second, I determine what I want happen with this situation. I decide that it would be the ultimate outcome, setting boundaries with family and or partner and understanding each other. Then I make my goal and sole focus. Then I envision. Now that I know what I want, I imagine myself having that. Anytime I catch myself thinking about the situation, I shift my thoughts to revolving around my focus. No dwelling on negativity or thinking what ifs. My thoughts are restricted to revolving around the ultimate goal of my soul focus. Last but not least is B, believe. I know what I want and why I want it today. Now I need to believe that it is possible to achieve and show as much inspiration on achieving it. By doing this, I open a door of opportunity so I can take the kind of action that will support my ultimate goal. Last but not least is being present. There's 100 things that we should be doing and 1,000 what-ifs in life. And we can all dwell on those what-ifs. But who enjoys thinking about that kind of stuff? And what purpose does it really even serve? I once read a quote that said, we'll never go anywhere by looking at where we are. Simply stated, getting to where we want to be requires us to look beyond where we are today and moving past that direction and heading full steam forward. Look at what you have and where you are, and that's just exactly where you'll stay stuck. Dwelling on the past and imagining the future keep us from being present and actually living. Don't waste time thinking and let the present pass you by. It goes quickly. Hear, smell, taste, feel what's taking place all around you. By being aware of what's happening, you can actually do something enjoyable today, right now. Take the time to sit down and tune in to yourself. Tune into your thinking. Are you needing a good laugh? Then find it. Is your skin hungry to feel warmth of the sun? Then go outside. Do you just need to sit in complete and total silence so you can reset your mind? Then do that. Go away from other people. Pay attention to how you're feeling and what's around you. Listen to the birds chirping. Then ask yourself, what would you like to do today? You don't need to have people around you to do things constantly. Your life is here for you, my friend, to live it. Don't wait for life to happen. Don't wait for life to come get you. You achieve life, and the best life by you going out and getting it. You, my friend, make it happen, and you need to make it happen. And listen, easy practices to change old patterns. We all do repetitiously things each and every day, but we need to change that, and we need to really honestly start listening. Don't just nod your head and say, let it go into here and into here, which transforms into your heart. We need to start thinking we, as in you and me, instead of just me. We need to stop being selfish. And that's one of my arguments about people that abuse drugs and alcohol, that they are so selfish to overdose, to take their life away from not just themselves, but from the people that love them the most. Look, we need to opt out for quality instead of convenience. quality instead of convenience. We need to start solving instead of coping. If you're in a bad relationship, don't just cope with that relationship. Solve it by leaving. Turn to AFEB, A-F-E-B. Ask, focus, envision, and believe. And we need to be in the present. What is today? What can you do today to improve your life tomorrow? Folks, I hope to God, no matter where you're watching me, you have the best day of your life. But I always hope and I always pray for each and every one of you folks that you have a sober rest of your life. And please make your life a better life by start living a better life. By start living with today and tomorrow, and don't live with the past. Let go of yesterday. Yesterday's gone. You can't change it. But you can change today. I look forward to the next time I see you here on the Take Your Life Back Today show. May God bless you.